As their point guard, he has to facilitate, get everyone involved, but he also has to look for his offense as well.
Bojanowski, Michael Young get us started. Brian Kersey, Raymond Steins, and Jerry Heater, the officiating crew here today for this ACC game. And the Panthers win the tap. And a foul called on Pittsburgh against James Robinson on the opening possession. Jamie Dixon now in year number 13 in charge in Pittsburgh. 322 wins for the native of North Hollywood, California. He's done a remarkable job.
Pitt Panthers starting out a little man-to-man defense, and the key is to keep Florida State out of the lane, move your feet without fouling, and first possession, Rattan Mays picks up a traveling call.
Turnovers at both ends here. Jamie Dixon already on the march. He gets miles in during the game. Artis, triple at the top. 3-0 Pittsburgh.
Well, that's a good sign. The Pitt Panthers have to get off to a good start. Struggled mightily in their last contest against NC State. Really struggled making shots that affected them on the defensive end. Good sign getting Artis off to a three-pointer.
Jamie Dixon said they missed 14 straight shots in the first half. He said, and we might have panicked a little bit because of those missed shots.
When you don't see the ball go in the basket, it can affect the way you play defense, the way you rebound, and NC State made them pay for that.
Here is the sophomore Rattan Mays. Working on Robinson with 4 to shoot. Fall away. And Bojanowski tried to keep it alive. Sterling Smith had a shot at it. And it will stay with Florida State. And Gastonia, North Carolina native Leonard Hamilton, now in season number 14 here in Tallahassee. His 29th as a collegiate head coach and almost 450 career wins. Bacon forces his way in the lane. And a foul called on the missed shot against Bojanowski. The senior from Bratislava in the Slavic Republic, his first and number 1 on Florida State. So we've each got a turnover and a foul now for both schools in a 3-0 game.
Well, nice defense by Artis. Slid his feet. More importantly, he showed his hands and forced Bacon to try to convert over him.
Young got off to an unbelievable start. Still leads Pittsburgh in scoring and rebounding, along with field goal and free throw shooting. Rafael Maya cleans up the miss. And a new shot clock here. Artis forced his way into traffic. A lot of contact, no whistle, held ball will go to Florida State on possession. Time for our forward keys to the ball game.
Well, for Pittsburgh, have to have a positive start to this game. The 2 losses, they had terrible first halves. As you said, Wes, missed 14 consecutive shots against NC State, held to 25 points in that first half. And then for Florida State, front court production. Louisville had 17 offensive rebounds. You're not going to win games giving up that many extra possessions.
Monte Brandon a 3. And the backside rebound for Smith. One of 3 fifth-year guys on this roster for Jamie Dixon. Young. And the rebound inside for Bacon.
Well, Michael Young can make that shot, but you would much rather him get closer to the basket, make Florida State have to pay, make them have to guard him on the interior.
2.5 minutes gone, still just the single field goal in the game and a turnover as Beasley tried to bounce it to Bojanowski. Well, Pittsburgh comes into the ball game, one of the more experienced teams in the country. You start to look at the way the Panther lineup falls. Maya with 93 starts. Three ball Smith. And a foul called again. And it is going to be tagged to Florida State.
Well, when you look at this Pitt team, again, they have a calmness at the point guard position with a 4-year starter in James Robinson. You have guys like Young and Artis who have been excellent players in their young careers, and they get a couple fifth-year guys. You're going to have an experienced team that's ready to go on the road and possibly get a win.
Maya's shot blocked, but right to Artis, who scores.
And again, the Achilles heel this season for Florida State, rebounding the basketball.
Yep.
I said they gave up 17 offensive rebounds, and here early in this contest, the Pitt Panthers already have 3 on the offensive glass.
And Rafael Maya, grad transfer from Brown, draws his first. And here's a look at Jamel Artis.
Well, we talked about Artis doing a variety of things for this Pitt team. He misses the 3-point shot, Maya does a nice job keeping the ball alive, and then Artis didn't stay on the perimeter, Wes. He sliced to the basket, understanding he could get his team an extra possession, able to corral it, go through contact for the nice finish.
Here's Bacon. Too strong, and Sterling Smith the rebound. Pittsburgh a 5-0 lead. Robinson misses the open jumper. Beasley the rebound, and here's Brandon leading the break. Slides through traffic against Nelson Adota, and last touched by Pittsburgh. It'll stay with Florida State, who's missed their first 5 shots from the floor. Jason, we see Alonzo Nelson Adota, the grad transfer from Richmond, on the floor now for Pittsburgh, and they're going to be shorthanded today because Sheldon Jeter's wearing the sweats as a result of the concussion he suffered in practice a couple days ago.
Well, he's a guy who's had a good season for the Pitt Panthers. Rebounding the basketball, blocking shots, leads the team in block shots, and also a versatile player. Can step out, knock down three-point shots. So the Pitt front line is going to have to step up in his absence.
Yep. Bacon traveled with it, trying to slash in from the right wing, and that'll cost Florida State a possession. And there is Sheldon Jeter, the transfer from Vanderbilt, in the sweatsuit there, behind referee official Raymond Steins. And he is expected back in the lineup Wednesday night when they're in Greenville to meet Clemson, who, by the way, at 12-7 and 5-2 in the league, has the weekend off from ACC play. You saw Terrence Mann check into the ball game for Florida State for the first time. 5-0 lead. Artis can't finish. Booker, one of the best three-point shooters in the ACC. Beasley, a 3.
Nice extra pass by Rattan Mays. He thought about it, but he's a guy that leads the ACC in assists. Nice recognition finding Beasley in the corner for a knockdown three-point shot.
Seminoles on the board. It took 4 minutes to get there, though, for Leonard Hamilton's club. Young around man. Can't finish. Nelson Adota taps it home.
Nice drive by Young. More importantly, he drew a second defender, which allowed Adota to get on the backboard for the free tip in. And Florida State working their way back, playing a little unselfish.
Set! Red 97!
Did you say 97?
Yes.
You know, that reminds me of Geico's 97% customer satisfaction rating.
97%?
Helped by Geico's fast and friendly claim service.
Oh yeah, baby. Geico's as fast and friendly as it gets.
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Bus is here. Let's go. Go, 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 go. I love you.
Best day ever. Ratio.
100% Black Angus beef, crispy onion strings, blue cheese, A1 steak sauce. All the flavors of a great steakhouse, now on a burger. Introducing the Steakhouse Thick Burger, only at Hardee's.
You've upgraded all your old technology, so what about this? It's time to get into the new with Ford. New is EcoBoost technology. New is a foot-activated liftgate. New is tougher, stronger, and lighter. New is Ford, America's best-selling brand. Now, get into a new Fusion for $179 or 0 for $60 plus $2,000 trade assist. See your Carolina Ford dealer today.
Well, back here at the Tucker Center, the 14th meeting all time today between Pittsburgh and Florida State. The series dates all the way back to early December 1973 when Buzz Riddle's Panthers hosted Hugh Durham's Seminoles at the Igloo. And by the way, Pitt won that day by 22, but Florida State has won 2 of the last 3. And Leonard Hamilton's team trying to get their 3rd league win today. And coming off the 17-point home loss to NC State on Tuesday night, this became a very big 40 minutes of basketball today for Jamie Dixon's team, Jason.
Well, it is, but they've gotten off to a good start. When you think back to that contest against NC State, it was the lowest amount of points they had ever scored at home, 25 points, and got beat off the bounce. They're moving their feet better so far in this first half, keeping the young Florida State Seminoles out of the lane.
Jarquez Smith's come on the floor for Florida State. He's got it at the foul line. And front rims the shot against Nelson Adota.
Well, Smith is a guy who had an excellent season last year, been a little slow out of the gates, but they need his front court production. He's a guy that can score it, but also defend and protect the rim. He has to get going for the Seminoles.
Sterling Smith is on the floor along with Wilson, and turned over there trying to get it to Michael Young. More communication here, and two guys in the same place, and an unforced error by Jamie Dixon's team.
Well, that's what happens when James Robinson goes to the bench. Again, he's a guy who protects the ball, but more importantly, he gets everyone set where they're supposed to be. And then on this end, we talked about Beasley being a complete player. He's a guy that can score it. And there you see him returning the favor, unselfish with a nice pass to Rattan Mays.
2-point lead for the Panthers. Wilson working against Booker. Now here's Smith with Rattan Mays defending. 10 to shoot for the Panthers. And the lefty runner is good for Wilson. He had 2 points in 8 minutes of action against NC State on Tuesday night. Pushes the Pittsburgh lead back to 4.
Booker on that possession left the gate open. You don't want to allow the offensive player to get to the middle of the floor, and the way his feet were set, he invited the drive to the middle.
Rattan Mays a little strong with the 3, and a foul called against Nelson Adota.
Well, to be a good player, you have to be able to move without the basketball, and a nice UCLA cut by Rattan Mays. Then on the other end, you see Booker. His feet are inviting the drive to the middle, and Wilson does a nice job recognizing that, making him pay with a slash to the basket and finish.
There's another foul on Nelson Adota. 2 quick ones against the Richmond transfer. And without Jeter's services today, here comes Rafael Maya back on the floor. Neither player noted for their scoring, but pretty good presence around the rim. And now you got to be careful. Without Jeter, you lose one of your post players.
Well, this may be a game, if you think back to last season, the Pitt Panthers played small a lot. They would slide Artis down to play the 4, with Young as their 5th guy in there. And so we may see more of a traditional three-guard lineup throughout this game for the Pitt Panthers.
Booker working against Artis off the inbound. Lob back to Smith. And the jumper is good for Jarquez Smith.
Well, a nice finish by Smith, but impressive catch. When you think of what he had to do on the roll, set the screen on the roll, but he had to find that basketball, corral it, nice kiss off the glass.
Wilson on the drive. Maya tried to clean it up inside and draws the Florida State foul, and it's on Jarquez Smith.
Florida State's going to put you in a lot of pick and roll situations. And when that happens, you have to recognize where the ball is going to be. High pass by Booker, but give Smith a lot of credit. An athletic catch, corral, and great hand-eye coordination to find it and put it off the glass.
Artis 3 off the inbounds. Rebounded Bojanowski. Beasley does not have numbers. Booker will fire from 3 and hit.
Well, Booker has numbers. He has 3. Nice find, second assist by Beasley. And you have to understand in transition, you must locate Devin Booker, an excellent three-point shooter for the Seminoles.
Florida State in front for the first time at 10-9 on the Booker triple. Young had it picked away, man, and last touch by the Panthers. Well, sometimes you don't have to have the percentages. Is that what you're telling me, Coach?
Well, Jamie Dixon talked about transition defense, and it's not just getting to the basket. You must locate shooters, and when you think of Devin Booker, you talk about the experience of Florida State. When he's a guy who comes off the bench, protects the basketball, backup point guard, but his role is to be an excellent shooter. And you look at that right there, 7 3-pointers a game, and a big reason is Devin Booker for a career 42% from distance.
Benji Bell's come on the floor. First time we've seen the junior from Gainesville by way of Northwest Florida Junior College for Florida State. Ryan Luther has come out there for Pittsburgh, by the way, and there's an over and back. Called by Jerry Heater. Leonard Hamilton thought that either Brian Kersey or Ray Steins would have seen that Pittsburgh touched it. No overrule coming on the whistle, so it will go to the Panthers.
Well, a tough pass by Dwayne Bacon, a little indecision with the basketball, and he threw it to the inside where the defender could shoot that gap and get a deflection. You must throw it to the outside hand of the offensive player. Unfortunate turnover for the Seminoles.
And there's an offensive foul on Luther, who's come on the floor to help out with Nelson Adota picking up 2 fouls, and Ryan Luther gets his first. And that's already 6 now, Jason, against Pittsburgh, and we've played just better than 7 minutes.
Well, we've talked about both teams needing front court help and rebounding and playing physical, but their physical nature is working against them here in this first half, picking up fouls.
Man leaves it short, and Bojanowski cleans it up.
I'm sure if you ask Man, he's going to tell you that was a pass, but way to be Johnny on the spot by Bojanowski for the catch and finish.
3-point lead for Florida State. Noles creating their own momentum here in a ball game that's been a little sluggish in the early going. Robinson draws the contact from Booker before the rejection of Bojo.
Well, just a veteran play by Robinson, understanding they need a basket, falling behind by 3 points here, and gets an angle, drives to the basket. More importantly, he got Booker in the air, able to jump into the contact and step to the line for 2.
His assist to turnover ratio against the ACC is 3.86. Just an amazing number given the way this league has started in its first nearly month of play. And James Robinson on the board. Averages just less than 9 against the conference with 4.5 assists, which is 4th best in conference play.
Well, for the most important position in basketball, here's a guy as a 4-year starter that's had a positive assist to turnover ratio in 112 of 121 games.
Crazy. Double team. And here is Booker. Both these senior guards have to be steadying influences to their respective teams this time of year, don't they?
Well, we know about the dynamic duos, the scoring duos for these teams, but when you think of Robinson and Booker, guys that put those guys in position to be successful.
There's a runner, hoop and foul for Terrence Mann. Freshman out of Lakeland draws Ryan Luther's 2nd foul. That'll get us to a timeout in Tallahassee. Noles trailed early, but have regained the lead at home. With Jason Capel, West Durham, Terrence Mann at the line to try and complete the 3-point trip as we rejoin you. And Mann gets 3, and Florida State has hit 6 of their last 9 after starting 0 for 5 here to take the lead by 4.
Out of the timeout, Florida State shows a little pressure. Pitt able to break it. Got lucky with getting to the basket, but Benji Bell reaching in, getting that deflection. Grabbing his shoulder, may have an injured player on the floor.
And very quickly, Malik Beasley will get Benji Bell. You're right, he reached in there, and all of a sudden you look down and you think, oh, strange things have happened on those type plays. He'll get a quick look, and James Robinson back on the floor now for Florida State. Here's Chris Jones, who's given him a nice lift in several of these early conference games. 7 to shoot, and Jones to the iron. Averaging 5 against the league. He played 20 minutes the other night in the loss to NC State.
Well, he's a guy known as a shooter throughout his career, but the Florida State defense, their feet aren't set to take away the middle drive. You're almost inviting the middle drive, and not known as a team that really protects the rim at a high rate. They must do a better job of keeping the Panthers out of the paint.
Bacon picked up on the dribble. Here's Mann. Now Beasley, and a offensive foul called on Terrence Mann. His first, 5 on Florida State.
With both teams offensively running a little weave action, but you see there with the crossover, got Beasley just off rhythm enough to create that lane, and defense is all about your footwork. And when your footwork is off and you're inviting people to the paint, these guys are big enough, strong enough to finish through contact. Nice finish by the Pitt Panthers.
Young, the miss of the jumper. Maya couldn't control it. Booker with the 2-point Florida State lead. Here's Bojo in the post, foul by Rafael Maya, his 2nd. Free throws coming for Bojanowski, and Time for today's trivia, courtesy of Duke Energy. Which Florida State player owns the second longest double-digit scoring streak currently in the ACC? Don't forget you can download more ACC trivia powered by Duke Energy in your app store. And here's Boris Bojanowski to the line, 73%. Pretty good stroke for a big man.
Well, we talked about front court production, and what I loved on that possession, Bojanowski sprinted down the floor, spinning rim to rim on the pipe, and he ducked in early, did a nice job of keeping the Pitt defender on his back, and Wes, he demanded the basketball. And that's what you want. You want a guy who wants it on the interior, and then he was able to make a nice move and earn himself a trip to the foul line.
Well, the Jeter concussion, and now 2 fouls each for Maya and Nelson Odoto, brings Cameron Johnson, a 6'7" redshirt freshman, off the bench, wearing number 23 for Pittsburgh. And also forces Jamie Dixon to downsize again here, Jason.
Well, this is the lineup we saw quite a bit last year. Take away Cameron Johnson, but Artis sliding down to the 4 brings a little bit more versatility with essentially 4 guards and 4 guys capable of knocking down outside shots. But you must do the job on the backboard.
Little zone employed here by the Noles. Robinson to Artis. Nice catch and score by Jamel Artis, who's got 7 on his 3rd field goal.
And that's the good thing about sliding Artis down. Teams go zone, you're putting your best player at the heart of that zone at the foul line where he can catch, make the correct pass or play, or he can look to score for himself.
Pittsburgh to within 2. We go under 10 minutes to play in this first half. Skip for Brandon. Bojanowski missed everything off the baseline. Here is Jones. 3-ball Artis. And slapped back by Johnson, but into the hands of Rattan Mays, and he draws the Jamel Artis foul, which is 8 now on Pittsburgh as a team in this first half. And, well, Jamel Artis has got 7 to lead Pittsburgh.
Well, one of the most versatile players in the country, and when you slide him down to the 4, he can slide into that sweet spot of a zone, get right in the middle where he's a big target, he can catch, he can make the right play, finding a teammate, but there makes the right decision to shoot it and score.
Rattan Mays at the line, 10th best free throw shooter in the ACC at 81%. Knocks down the first one. And the second one bounces in. Florida State hitting just 66% in conference play. Pittsburgh's free throw percentage is through the roof. Artis. And here are the Noles. Bacon. Rattan Mays a catch and shoot.
That's where the Noles excel. Getting out in transition with 4 guys that can handle the basketball, and they're playing unselfish in this contest. There you have Bacon leading in transition, and we know all too well Xavier Rattan Mays, he can get hot in a hurry. So Jamie Dixon calls his team over for a timeout. Jamie Dixon talked about the key to this game was transition defense, and the Noles, a lot of times, they're not running to get to the hoop. They're running and looking for a teammate, and Bacon makes a great decision. He sees Rattan Mays failing the test by coach's decision.
Well, 3 of 5 from behind the line is Florida State here in this first half, and it's carried them to a now 7-point advantage on Pittsburgh. Out of the Jamie Dixon timeout, a little pressure offered by Leonard Hamilton's team.
Well, Leonard Hamilton built his resume on defense, so he's going to mix up his defenses. He told us that, and you've seen a little zone man-to-man and a little full-court pressure as well. So he's going to try to keep this Pitt team guessing.
3-ball by Sterling Smith is good. 29th 3 of the year for Smith, the grad transfer from Coppin State, who's averaged almost 15 minutes a game last couple of contests, but only 3 points a contest. But he gets Pittsburgh inching closer there. Rattan Mays, front rim missed and deep. Here's Pittsburgh on the run now. Robinson hesitates, can't score, but draws the second foul on the sophomore Rattan Mays. Xavier Rattan Mays is first and 6 on Florida State.
Well, a nice drawing kick by Robinson, and you see Sterling Smith. He's a guy, that's his role on this team, shooting 49% for the season. He's a knockdown shooter who's done it at every stop along the way, and it's good to have a fifth-year guy to share the backcourt with James Robinson.
Pittsburgh is 78% at the line during the regular season, #1 in the ACC, 76% in conference play, and a rare miss by Robinson, who's attempts his 51st free throw of the year there. He's now 39 of 51 at the line.
Just a solid player all around, and a guy when you're building a program, the most important position is at the point guard. And as a coach, you can rest well at night having that guy run your show for 4 years.
High post, Bacon.
Tough shot by the freshman, but again, when you play zone, the sweet spot is right at that foul line area and the elbows, and he found that sweet spot.
Look at Smith going to work. Tapped out, and here's Florida State running. 5-point lead, Rattan Mays. Look away, and Beasley scores.
They make you pay for long shots and long rebounds. 4 guys that can push it. Rattan Mays makes the right decision, finding the freshman streaking in for the finish at the rim.
Robinson. Here's Artis now. James Robinson out front, misses. And Pittsburgh couldn't corral it. Artis and Bacon were there. It'll stay with Florida State. 7.5 to go in the opening frame, Jason. And the Noles doing it big here in transition.
Well, they're electrifying in transition, playing unselfish. Mays to Beasley for 2.
Behind the line.
Well, yeah, you look at points in the paint. 10 points in the paint, 8 fast break points. And when you're struggling shooting the basketball, you want to get easy opportunities. And the Seminoles have done that, turning live ball turnovers and long shots into easy transition baskets.
With the pressure offered by Pittsburgh out of the timeout. Both these teams come off disappointing losses. Florida State beaten at Louisville on Wednesday night. Pittsburgh lost at home to North Carolina State on Tuesday. Rattan Mays with 5 to shoot. Pass deflected with 3, 2, goes up from deep. Front rim miss, and cleaned up Beasley. Look what Malik Beasley found crashing the glass.
And that's what makes him an exceptional player. He's a guy that's a live body. He's always in motion. He's never standing in there, just slicing to the basket, right place, right time, and we know he can score the basketball.
Artis. Cameron Johnson, a 3, rolls it in.
Cameron Johnson, the 6'7" redshirt freshman. He's a guy that the Pitt Panthers are relying on to knock down outside shots. Had a big game against BC where he scored 20 points and knocked down 4 threes. So that's a good sign on the road to see the freshman step up and knock down a 3.
Well, his minutes have really increased here the last week or so for Jamie Dixon off the Pittsburgh bench. And an unforced error. Bacon and Brandon couldn't get hooked up.
Well, you see Beasley always in movement and right place, right time for the offensive rebound and finish. And then on the other side, against the zone, you have to locate the shooters. And Cameron Johnson, a guy that's proven with time he can knock down shots from distance.
Well, timeout.
When it's comfortable with who he is, knocking down shots and also scoring at the rim. And then Anthony Gill, you talk about improvement. You talk about being a 4-year player, improving each season from the time he was at South Carolina to now being the mainstay on the front court for the Cavaliers, having an excellent senior season.
6-point lead for Florida State. Out of the timeout, Artis fights through. Blocked by Jarquez Smith. Here's Beasley to Bacon. On the drive and scores. Second field goal for Dwayne Bacon. And another Jamie Dixon timeout. And the Pittsburgh coach not happy at all, I think, with defensive transition in this opening half, Jason.
Well, you're taking a lot of outside shots, and it's a good defense there. But he told us prior to this game that he was going to send 2 guys back on each possession to make sure they got back in transition. Leonard Hamilton Ball Club, this year they just have so many explosive offensive players. When you think of the killer bees, and obviously we know Rattan Mays can score the basketball, but for this team to excel as we go through ACC play and possibly compete for an NCAA tournament bid, they must do the job on the backboard as well as the defensive end of the floor.
Well, Malik Beasley, an off-the-ball foul. His first is number 7 on Florida State. So 5.5 minutes to go, and here's Sterling Smith, a 90% free throw shooter. He played for Fang Mitchell at Coppin State. Graduated with a degree in criminal justice and is applying that extra year now to be a part of Jamie Dixon's program and has been an excellent fit. In fact, Dixon has told us not only is Smith an excellent fit, Maya, who led the Ivy League in rebounding, comes over and has been a great fit for what they needed, although he's been saddled most of this first half with 2 fouls, as has Nelson Adota. 5 for Sterling Smith.
And on the make, you see Pitt now going to a little full court pressure. With the foul trouble, you must move your feet, show your hands, and they're going to fall back into that zone. And they're playing this zone because of foul trouble, and you have to account for shooters. And none more lethal for the Seminoles than Devin Booker. Not only can he knock down shots from distance, there he shows it, gets separation, and knocks down a nice 15-footer.
5 first-half points for Booker. Senior from Alaska makes it an 8-point Florida State advantage. Here is Smith, a catch-and-shoot 3. Wow, Sterling Smith.
And Smith right back. A little miscommunication with Booker and Bacon under the basket, whether they were to switch or not. And if you give Smith that much room and that much time to get his shot off, he's an excellent three-point shooter.
Pittsburgh in the zone as well. Ratan Mays. The Terrence Mann. XRM fighting through. Left it short, got his own rebound, and the held ball will go to Pittsburgh on alternating possession.
Well, when you're a good shooter, you have that respect, and the Seminoles break the press. When the ball gets to Booker, they're going to close out hot to him, understanding he's an excellent shooter. He shows it, gets that separation off the bounce, and able to knock down a 15-footer.
Robinson open for 3, and it's long. Booker to Karam, outlet for Bacon. And he will be called for the charge on Sterling Smith. Sterling Smith's crafty defensive play comes in handy here.
We'll give the fifth-year senior a lot of credit. He understands Bacon is not going to pull up in transition. He sprints back. He's the primary defender. His feet are outside the charge circle. Takes it on the chops and gets the Panthers an extra possession.
Bacon comes out of the lineup. Inside, Young going to work. And last touch by Florida State. It'll stay with Pittsburgh as we approach 4 minutes to play in this first half. This has been the kind of contested ball game I think we thought we'd see. It got a little ugly early.
Yeah.
Neither team could make shots, but now we're getting a...
Both teams need a win. And when you talk about Florida State, you must protect your home floor in the ACC in any conference. So must win for Florida State, but Pitt has to get back to their winning ways as they have throughout this season.
Nelson Adota can't finish against Smith. Kick out. And now a fresh 30 for the Panthers. Down 5. Robinson. Here is Young. 10 to shoot, and Smith launches. Line drive, triple for Sterling Smith.
Well, great ball movement. You got the ball inside to Young. He drew the double team on the bounce, and a nice kick out and nice recognition by Robinson to move that zone. You go from one side to the other. You find Smith open on the left wing, and he knocks down another 3.
He had 11 in the win against Georgia Tech, so it's just his second double-figure game against the league so far. Booker to 3.
Well, the same thing on this side for Florida State. You're moving that zone, and Booker did a nice job sprinting from corner to corner for an overload, and he knocks down a 3-point shot as well.
On the drive and a travel for Artis. And it's a 5-point game.
With two teams doing a nice job passing against the zone and knocking down shots. There you see Smith for Florida State and Booker going corner to corner. 3 for the Seminoles.
7 to go first half at the Tucker Center in Tallahassee on a big basketball alumni weekend that they're celebrating here. And boy, lots of luminaries are back for Florida State. And they got to be liking what they've seen out of the Noles here in the last 10 minutes of clock time for sure.
Well, yeah, but if you're the Pitt Panthers, you got to step up and get stops. The Seminoles shooting 50% from the floor. And there's another easy basket. Jarquez Smith inside, assisted by Devin Booker. And a lot is made of the young guys for Florida State, and rightfully so. They're dynamic, but it takes upperclassmen to bring you to that next level that you're trying to get to. And Booker is showing his worth for the Seminoles in this contest.
Led by as many as 10 in the first half, 7 now as we approach 2 minutes. Young's been very quiet today, scoreless in the first half, and a travel there on the junior from Duquesne, PA, Michael Young.
Well, you have Jarquez Smith on the screen rolling to the basket. No one accounts for him. And a nice find by Devin Booker, who's showing you he's an excellent three-point shooter, but he's also an adequate passer as well.
Beasley got knocked off balance and still finished it. 9 in the first half for the freshman from Alpharetta, Malik Beasley, in Florida State has hit 6 of their last 7 from the floor.
There are some guys that are shooters. There are other guys that are scorers, and Malik Beasley is a natural-born scorer from anywhere on the floor.
And a foul called, I believe, inside against Florida State, and it is on Beasley. Well, we the hoop here.
We've seen Beasley knock down shots from distance, and here is a bad closeout. And as a scorer, you have to be able to do it in a variety of ways with different angles. And there, he attacks. He sees the rotation of a big coming over, and a nice little teardrop floater on the right baseline. Just an excellent player who's having an outstanding freshman season for the Seminoles.
Jason, is he the best freshman in the ACC so far?
I think you look at him, and I think you look down in Durham.
Right.
With Brandon Ingram, obviously, 2 guys who so much has been expected of them to come in and produce right away, and 2 guys that are scoring the basketball. You look at Beasley, not only is he leading all ACC guys, rookies in scoring, he's also 3rd in rebounding. So he does so much for this Seminole team, and so many excellent freshmen. I would say those 2 are at the top of the list.
Right. 1 of 2 for Alonzo Nelson Adota. So it's an 8-point game. Just ahead of a minute to go. Working against the zone, and Florida State trying to find that seam again. Benji Bell. Nice pass. Bacon couldn't hang on to the offer from Mann, and it's turned over. A minute to go.
Well, if you're Pitt, you needed that stop. Now you have to come down, execute, and ensure you get a good look at the basket going against this zone defense.
Artis left alone. Nelson Adota the rebound. Can't finish, and a foul called against Michael Young. That'll be his first, 9 on Pittsburgh. And don't forget, coming up, the Hardy's halftime report. We'll take a look at this first 20 minutes of play. Show you some of these FSU basketball in a Legends Challenge. And stats and more. Hardy's halftime report at the break. Terrence Mann out of Lowell, Mass. will go to the free throw line. 45% on the year, but seems to be a little better than that. He's 2 of 2 today. And here is Chris Kamaji, one of the more fascinating rookie prospects in this league. 7'4" freshman from the nation of Chad. And Leonard Hamilton told us he's not a good athlete, he's an exceptional athlete.
Well, he's a guy that played at Montverde Academy, the famed prep school down in Orlando, Florida, alongside Ben Simmons. And there you see Michael Young, nice shot fake, getting to a spot where he's very comfortable, and shot over the top. And Pitt, 24 seconds to go in this first half. Right, they do away with the zone, go man to man. Going to have to move their feet without fouling. More importantly, they have to finish this possession, Wes, with the defensive rebound.
That was Young's first points, by the way, of the first half. And now here's Booker with 9. Picks up on his dribble. Bell with 6, 5. Benji Bell feeds Bacon. Layup, good! Well, just as they did the other night against Virginia when they got a Beasley basket to go to the locker room, today Dwayne Bacon obliges, and a nice play by Benji Bell, Jason.
Well, Pitt, they were in man-to-man, tried to, in the last 10 seconds, drop back to zone, and a nice drive and pass by Bell. And we know Bacon, if he gets in the paint, he can finish over the best of them. Nice finish for the Noles going into the half.
Florida State shoots 57% from the
big guns on the offensive end. Young and Artis have to get going here in this second half.
Rattan Mays has the basketball, and Pittsburgh opens in the zone again. Beasley, the high weave, and Bacon had it stripped by Robinson. Able to recover it, 15 to shoot for Brandon. Now they go man. How about that? Beasley spots up. And the rebound for Sterling Smith. Even though it finished at 10, I thought Sterling Smith saved him from it being deep into double figures. There's a foul called against Florida State. Bojanovsky, it'll be his second. I thought Sterling Smith gave him an offensive list in the first half. Jason, they kept it from being a deeper double figure deficit at the break for Pittsburgh than just 10 points.
Well, when you have Artis and Young going 4 for 16 combined in the first half, someone had to step up and keep this thing from getting away. And when you look at Sterling Smith, 3 for 7, more importantly, 9 points from the three-point line, shooting 50%. Jamie Dixon stood up after that possession, clapping, saying good defense. They got to stop, able to get in transition and earned a trip to the foul line with the clock stopped, able to chip into this lead.
8-point game now. After 2 free throws from Michael Young, give him 4. Remember, the 6th best scorer in the ACC coming into today at 17-1. Tan Mays. Maya trying to help Robinson. Bacon a pull-up. Young the rebound of the miss. Bojanovsky went down. He's hurt. Robinson finishes in the lane. First field goal for James Robinson. He's got 5.
Well, as a coach, you talk about putting stops together in a row, and to start this second half, the Pitt Panthers changing their defense, started out in some zone the first possession, switched at the 10-second mark, back to man-to-man. So switching their defense, controlling the backboard, and able to get back in transition to get some easy baskets at the rim. And Bojanovsky goes to the sideline, seems to be injured. And that's 2 possessions in a row on the interior. He's ended up on the floor, which created numbers for the Panthers out in transition.
So Bojo will get a break. And Jarquez Smith comes into the ball game. He played 13 minutes in the first half for Coach Hamilton. Brandon all the way through. Can't score the basket, but does draw the foul on Rafael Maya.
Well, that's nice recognition by Monte Brandon. Nice little roll and replace action from the ball screen. And as the replace guy, you understand Monte Brandon's not an elite three-point shooter. He puts it on the ground against the mismatch, able to get a foot in the paint and draw the foul.
Jason, he averaged 11.6 rebounds a year ago. He's averaging 3.5 points, 3.5 rebounds this season. But Monte Brandon's value to this basketball team is his experience, right?
Experience and his leadership. Even as a guy who's not scoring the ball at a high clip, he's a program guy. Being here 4 years, playing essentially 3 positions for the Seminoles, and does all the little things, making a big sacrifice with the new talent they had coming in to score the basketball. And for this team to be as good as they want to be, they need that leadership and that dirty work type of things inside and on the perimeter for Monte Brandon.
2 minutes gone here in the second half. The lead is 7. Robinson a 3. And the rebound for Beasley. Malik Beasley. Here's Rattan Mays, who had a flurry in the first half on the way to 7 points.
We're already better transition defense, a long shot, long rebound. As you know, in the locker room, Jamie Dixon talked about that transition defense. And when you're able to get back, you force this young team to play against a set defense. And now they have to think. Now they have to be able to react to a change in defense. And Dwayne Bacon there, a little quick first step, picks up a traveling call.
9th turnover on Florida State. Pittsburgh's got to take advantage of those opportunities, though.
Well, you have to. You know, when the team turns the ball over or you get offensive rebounds, anytime you get an extra possession, you have to make them pay for it.
Smith. And the rebound for Smith. Sterling misses, Jarquez the rebound, and Beasley at the other end.
There's nothing you can do about it. When you take long shots, it's going to be a long rebound. And when the Seminoles get out in transition, especially these freshmen, Beasley and Bacon, they're so fast, so athletic, so dynamic in avoiding the contact, especially Beasley. They're going to make you pay.
11 for Beasley, first points of the second half. And James Robinson answers with a 3.
Well, that's a good sign for the Pitt Panthers. If there's one weakness in James Robinson's game, and it's just one in my opinion. It's the ability to knock down outside shots, and he's going to have to do that if they're going to be a team competing for the middle or upper echelon of the ACC.
Jarquez Smith misses everything on a turning jump shot. Now Pittsburgh looking to run with Robinson. Artis slides baseline. Here's Young. Tried to take Brandon off the dribble. Monte Brandon picks up his second foul. And the first on the Noles in the second 20 minutes.
Well, major key alert against Florida State. You must get back in transition. You have to force them to play in the half court. And when playing zone defense, you have to recognize where the shooters are. And though James Robinson not noted as a shooter, with time and space, he can knock it down. And the Pitt Panthers executing an out-of-bounds under with a nice pass and finish to Michael Young.
4.5, 6 in the game for Young. It's a 4-point game now. Ratan Mays. Booker clutched it from deep. Beasley will fire and hit. Boy, Malik Beasley now. 4 in a row for the Noles, 13 in the ball game.
So impressed with this young man, and talking to Leonard Hamilton at the ACC coaches meetings before the season started, he said it. He said he thought Malik Beasley was going to be maybe the top freshman in this ACC, and he's shown and proven throughout this entire season that he's one of the elite players, not only freshmen, elite players in all of the country.
10 to shoot for the Noles. Young in traffic, cashes out. Robinson, another three. James Robinson, 11 in the game, 8 already here in the second half.
Well, to win on the road, you need contributions from your full roster, and none more important than your senior leader stepping up, knocking down outside shots.
Ratan Mays, as we're almost 5 minutes old second half. Booker, 6 to shoot, tried to go to Smith, taken away by Sterling Smith on the turnover by the Noles. Well, Robinson's got to be playing with a lot of confidence now. Picks up on his dribble. And here's Young going to work. And a reach-in foul on Beasley. Well, Malik Beasley's third foul, but he's done a whole lot more for the Noles here in this second half. Beasley's got 4 for 13 in the game, but James Robinson, a pair of triples.
This second half, and the Pitt Panthers shooting 57% here early in the second half after struggling in the first, and the Seminoles must step up their defensive efforts.
Sterling Smith hit a couple of threes in the first half. And now a whistle at the post. And it's on Monte Brandon. So Brandon's third. That's 3 on Florida State in the second half. Terrence Mann, the 6'6" freshman from Lowell, Mass. Onto the floor. Here's Artis. Diving in off that baseline. Well, Mann got the rebound and a foul called, I believe, Nelson Adota. Alonzo Nelson Adota, Jason, his third. And that foul trouble we saw in the post for Pittsburgh in the first half will bring Ryan Luther back off the bench. But Jamie Dixon, without Sheldon Jeter today because of the concussion, it's a tenuous spot on the floor for him here today.
Well, it is, and again, they're going to have to go back possibly and play small. The thing that does, it helps you on the offensive end. You have 4 guys that can score, and Artis is a guy who you can put anywhere on the floor as a power forward, but defensively, can you defend? Can you rebound at a high enough clip to get a win on the road?
Almost 6 minutes gone here in the second half. Ratan Mays for Bacon. Bojo the catch. Can't finish it. Bojanowski a second time. His second field goal.
Well, you like to see the transition from defense to offense. On one possession, Bojo built his wall and had verticality with a nice block in the defensive end there. Misses a chippy, but he stayed with it, able to corral a rebound, and a nice putback by the big fella.
5-point lead. Young's got 4.5, 6 in the game. Shot fake and scores. Boy, Michael Young, strong move off the block for his third field goal.
And West, that's where he needs to be. A lot of times I think he falls in love with the jump shot, and though a capable shooter, his bread and butter is getting you down in the paint using his size and strength to finish.
Bojanowski rolls. Artis had it punched out of there. Trying to control the rebound. It'll stay with the Panthers.
Well, Bojo commanded the ball, a nice pass. Misses the easier of the two, but doesn't put his head down, stays with it, able to corral the rebound, and gives the Seminoles a much-needed 2 points on that possession.
Robinson. Here's Young all alone in travel. And that will send it to Florida State on the turnover.
With their Young, he had the open shot. You could tell he was thinking about it. Didn't recognize initially how open he was and how open the lane was, and tried to get a little too quick for his own good and picks up the traveling call.
Still a 3-point lead for Florida State. And Bacon a three. And Luther the rebound.
Well, Pitt's doing a nice job here in this second half in the ball screen situation. And Sterling Smith gets to the basket, had an opportunity to finish, unable to complete the layup.
Bojanowski's shaken up again. There's the scoop and score by Bacon. Dwayne Bacon with a dipsy-do under the hoop for his 4th field goal. Bojanowski's shaken up again and up to come out of the ball game. Look at this, though.
Well, in transition, Dwayne shaking Bacon does a nice job attacking the defense, closing out to him, and a little up and under, uses the rim and puts a little English on the ball for the spin.
Bojanowski's had problems with both shoulders here in this second half. But a full contact game at the post. Ten to shoot for Robinson. Luther stripped of it and fouled, and that's on Bacon. His second. 14 foul on Florida State. Noles still lead by 5.
Mike, don't look now.
When you talk about point differential, plus 22, and they're showing improvement in the ACC, so that would be an excellent win on their home court for the Yellow Jackets.
Smith out of the timeout of 3. And Sterling Smith draws Pittsburgh to within 2.
Well, he's done it all game. When you leave him open, when you lose contact with number 15 in blue, and he has his feet set and his eyes on the rim, he's going to make you pay. Big-time shot by Sterling Smith.
Booker. Here is Mann with Rattan Mays and Bacon. Jarquez Smith on the floor. On the drive, Terrence Mann. And the recovery for Bacon.
Well, that's what you can't have if you're Pitt. They do a nice job defensively, forcing a tough shot, but that's a 50-50 play. That ball was up for grabs with Sterling Smith and Dwayne Bacon, and Bacon wanted it just a little bit more, able to rip it away and finish inside.
Wilson back on the floor, freshman from suburban Atlanta. Young. And a whistle and foul as Michael Young worked through traffic. Terrence Mann second.
Well, against the zone, you have to locate where the shooters are, whether in the set or out of bounds under. You have to have quick bumps. You have to point the basketball, but when that ball starts to move, you have to bump quickly. If you let a guy who's seen the ball go through the hoop a few times in this contest get another open look, he's going to make you pay, and Sterling Smith has done just that throughout this contest.
Robinson. Here's Cameron Johnson. And knocked away by Beasley. Now Beasley is playing in this second half with 3 fouls. He's one of 2 Noles with 3. Rafael Maya and Nelson Adota, the 2 post guys in the ball game for the most part today for Pittsburgh, the only Panthers with 3 fouls as we go to toward the 10-minute mark.
Well, it says a lot of what Leonard Hamilton thinks about his young freshman to, not commit a silly turnover, and defensively the Seminoles doing the job, getting deflections and coming up with a key steal.
Here is Beasley, back for Mann. Leave it for Malik, up front for 3.
But Terrence Mann is the freshman that gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, but he's a guy that loves to attack the basket, draw that second defender, and the top of the key 3-point shot is one that we like to call the sweet spot. Draw, drive, kick. Three ball, top of the key. Seminoles up there, get to mid-range and knock down shots, and we've seen them knock down shots from distance. 16 points, perfect from the field. Also throws in 4 rebounds and 3 assists, so complete player having an excellent game here on his home floor.
Helped guide the Noles to a 7-point lead, and Mann reaches in battling Young. He becomes the 3rd Seminole to pick up 3, and that is now 7 on Florida State with 10:06 to play. And I mention that because of how good a free throw shooting team Pittsburgh is. And the Panthers have only been to the line 10 times today so far. They're 8 of 10.
If you're Florida State, you want to be aggressive. You don't want to pull these guys back now that they're starting to fly around, get deflections, but you have to be smart. Move your feet, defend without foul.
Young is 3 for 3 at the line. He's got 7 in the half, 9 in the ball game for the 6'9" junior. He's got 7 games of 20 or more this year. And missed the back end, and a foul called on Chris Jones. Battling underneath, and it'll be number 1 on Jones and 3 on Pittsburgh. Nelson Adota on the floor, Ryan Luther on the floor, and here comes Jamel Artis on the floor. Pittsburgh really kind of mixing up the depth here in the bench for Jamie Dixon.
Well, you can tell with this lineup, a major focal point for the Panthers is going to be on the offensive end, getting Jamel Artis shots. He's the only guy that in this lineup, along with Robinson, that is noted as a scorer. So he's going to have to shoulder that load here until Michael Young enters the game.
Booker, left side man. Boy, working through traffic. Terrence Mann found a crack. 7 for Mann.
Well, he's a slasher who loves to drive to the basket. There showed great patience. The defense stopped him, and he gave a second move, which created that angle to the basket. Nice footwork, nice finish inside.
Luther, only averaging about 3 points a game off the bench. Robinson on the drive. And run down by Beasley, who had to battle Booker, his own teammate, for it, Jason.
Well, as a coach, you don't mind that. When you have 2 guys attacking the basketball, you're going to applaud that effort.
Rare miss from Booker. Artis. Luther left open and hits. Ryan Luther's first basket.
Well, Luther's a guy who's shown that he can make shots. He's a guy who can step out and knock down an occasional 3-pointer, but there he caught it in rhythm and had some daylight with a defender not closing out to him, and nice little 8-foot jump shot.
Mann. And draws the foul. It's on Nelson Adota. It'll be his 4th. How about a look at the Honda Dealers of the Carolinas top 25 already. A little shake up there at the top that features 5 ACC teams, and West Virginia got beat today, huh?
Yes, you talk about West Virginia losing at home to Texas. 8 for 23 from the foul line in that game. Oklahoma losing last week to Iowa State. So the Tar Heels have a contest tomorrow in Blacksburg against an up-and-coming Virginia Tech Hokies team, and you would assume with the win in Blacksburg, the Tar Heels will be the new number 1. But Wes, I'm not sure anybody wants to be number 1 in the country right now.
Jones and a foul at the other end for Pittsburgh. Strong take by Chris Jones, and Beasley has just drawn his 4th.
Well, from a free throw miss, there's no excuse to get beaten transitioning. Chris Jones makes a nice in and out move and attacks the basket. He's a right-hander who likes to drive right. There he gets Beasley on his shoulder and strong enough to go through the contact and finish a possible 3-point play.
Well, and the Noles leading scorer goes to the bench with 8:28 to play. And it's a 3-point game after Jones knocks down the free throw.
Well, that's a big loss for Florida State, but you have to remember they have a guy with the basketball, Rattan Mays, who's noted as a scorer, and Dwayne Bacon, who's not shy himself at just under 17 points a game. So those 2 would take up the offensive slack.
Mann for Bacon. Deep 3 misses. Young the rebound. Pittsburgh now a little more steam in their stride here in the last couple minutes.
Well, they're playing a little faster because they're getting stops and they're controlling the backboard, and that's what you want to do. If you can beat a defense down the floor, you're going to give yourself a better opportunity to score the basketball.
Jones knocked away, Bookered out of there. Here's Bacon ahead of the pack. Tried to wrap it out and turned it over to Robinson. Here's Artis, and the look away is deflected by Mann. It'll belong to Pittsburgh. Fast and furious here in Tallahassee. Back after word from your local ACC station.
Defensively, they're forcing tough shots, and long rebounds are leading to transition opportunities, and the Panthers have been able to score with the defense that's not set. They must execute this possession and get a good shot at the basket.
Out of the timeout, Luther. And had it punched away. Booker the turnover. And then he lost it to Robinson. Panthers trying to find an alley. Jones shoots for the tie. Rattan Mays calming things down.
Well, if you're Florida State, you must slow the tempo there, because we're getting a little frenetic. You have to take advantage of this possession. A narrow three-point lead. You must work the ball and ensure you get a good shot.
XRM through traffic and turned it over to Young.
And that's not it. Driving into traffic with Bojanowski slicing to the basket, creates a turnover, and it allows Pitt's most dynamic scorer, Jamel Artis, to get out in transition with a nice lefty finish off the glass.
1 point lead now for Florida State. Artis with 9, just his first points of the second half. Rattan Mays. Brandon. And here's Bacon scoring over the top of Michael Young. A dozen for Dwayne Bacon.
Florida State running a little wheel action. When the ball gets to Bacon, we understand that he wants to drive right, and he's strong enough to take the contact and finish.
Knowles went 3.5 minutes without a field goal before the bucket there. 3-point game, Young. And here's Booker.
See, Wes, that's a time where you have Bojanowski closing out to him. Give a shot fake, get a little closer to the basket if you're Michael Young.
Booker, the long two.
Kind of like Booker did there. When a guy is flying out to you, and as a shooter, as an offensive player, you know how they're going to close out to you. Give a little head and shoulder fake, show the basketball, and get to a spot where you have a better look at the basket.
5-point lead now. We approach 5 minutes to play. Artis all the way to the iron.
Well, a total breakdown on the defensive end, and Leonard Hamilton pointing the guys to go to the scores table because he can't like that effort. And Artis just putting his head down, turning the corner, getting downhill. Uncontested layup at the rim.
Rattan Mays now, 15 to shoot. Robinson there to defend. Bacon whirling through traffic. And an offensive foul on Dwayne Bacon. Ryan Luther hanging out at the arc.
Well, Luther doing a nice job just sliding into position, essentially just waiting to take the charge. And total breakdown defensively. Jamel Artis is the right-handed player. You allow him to drop that inside shoulder, get downhill, and goes unimpeded all the way to the rim for an easy layup. And on the offensive possession for the Seminoles, Bacon with a nice drive to the basket, comes out of his spin move. Wes, he has to recognize, even as a young player, when that secondary defender comes over, he needs to drop that ball off. A nice bounce pass to Bojanowski, who now has an uncontested dunk. And when you force plays, when you force action, you're going to suffer the consequences resulting in turnovers. And the young freshman has 7 on the day.
Yep. 3-point game. Robinson shoots to tie and hits. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes James Robinson's 3-point game.
Well, in the NC State contest, they went under ball screens. They forced him to beat them from the 3-point line. And here, Florida State just losing them. And he's making them pay 3 3-pointers on the day. But that's just great one-on-one play by Xavier Rattan Mays, telling everybody to calm down. I got it. crossover, one dribble pull-up, knockdown.
2-point lead again for the Noles. 4 minutes to go here in Tallahassee. Artis against Booker. Now Young with man defending. Tough matchup there for the freshman. Man blocked by Bojanowski. Artis can't finish it. Rattan Mays leads the break. And Booker can't handle it. Timeout on the floor. Pittsburgh gives the Panthers a chance with Robinson shooting a three, Kate.
Well, your big-time players have to step up in crunch time, especially on the road. Senior Robinson does just that, and Rattan May says, I got it. Crossover, 1-2 dribble pull-up, bang. Little sloppy stretch there over the last couple of possessions. You must take care of the basketball. You must ensure each time down you execute and at least get a good look at the basket. You may not make it, but you have to get a good look. And for the Pitt Panthers, their good look has come by way of Jamel Artis going downhill. We saw him go right, unimpeded to the basket. Here he shows you he's a complete player. Comes out, drives left, takes the contact from Bojanowski and switches it over to his left hand. And excellent finish with the spin in. He steps to the line for an opportunity to take a lead for the Pitt Panthers.
Pittsburgh has not led since it was 9-7 early in the game. After the miss, Artis shoots for the lead. Young the rebound and a foul call. And I believe it's on Bookert, and it is. Jerry Heater with the second call of the day against Devin Bookert, so 2 free throws for Michael Young.
Well, there's no excuse to give up a free throw rebound. You have Terrence Mann as the low guy boxing out, and he has his hands full, boxing out Ryan Luther, but you get second opportunities to a team hungry to see themselves in a lead. And now the Pitt Panthers unable to knock down free throws as a team who excels at the foul line.
Last 2 games, 65% at the line, and Young missed them both, and Beasley went and got the rock.
But Beasley says, well, we're struggling to get it. I'm just going to jump over the whole crowd and go get it with 2 hands.
Booker going to run the offense here on this set. Here is Mann. On the drive against Luther, all the way into traffic. Then had it blocked. 7 to shoot and got it back. Got to get rid of it. 5. Here's Rattan Mays. Deep 3. Off the back iron, and Booker went high to get the rebound. And Mann gives Florida State the lead.
Those are the winning plays you have to have if you're a team on the rise. And not surprisingly, it comes from an upperclassman, Devin Booker, much more than a shooter. There, the little guy goes inside and comes up with a big play, big-time rebound for the Noles.
Artis for Young. Fouled. Beasley's done. That's 5.
The Pitt Panthers did the job defensively, but you must finish possessions with the rebound. Devin Booker, a little guy standing 6'2", just goes up high, corrals that rebound with a nice pass inside. But now with 2:24 to go, the Noles clinging to a 2-point lead, their leading scorer.
67-65, and Leonard Hamilton's going to mix in a timeout here while he replaces Malik Beasley. Well, Florida State.
Well, you must protect your home floor. Winning on the road is so difficult that if you can steal one, and the Pitt Panthers have an opportunity late in this game to steal this contest, they must take advantage, because as we see, their road ahead going to Clemson, who's playing excellent basketball. Virginia Tech is a team on the rise, and Virginia, though a few stumbles, they're still a team that's going to be tough to play against. There are no nights off west in ACC play. You must win your home games, the majority, and you must find ways to put together wins on the road, and the Panthers have that opportunity this afternoon.
Well, Michael Young missed a free throw a moment ago at the back end, hits that one. Beasley fouls out of the ball game. This is to tie, and does. 67 all.
For Florida State, it's about execution. It's about ensuring you take care of the basketball and you get a good look at the basket. For the Pitt Panthers, move your feet, defend without fouling, and more importantly, finish possessions if it's a miss with the rebound. And their man, little happy feet there on the sideline. Official Brian Kersey right on top of it. Turnover for the Seminoles.
Leonard Hamilton. Got to get through some experiences with young people.
When you have young players, you must live with some mistakes. And these guys, all three of them essentially have had good games. But it takes a focused mind to finish a contest.
Under 2 minutes, tied at 67 on Florida State's 15th turnover. Artis 10 to shoot. Well, Robinson has been remarkable from behind the line. Here is Smith. Artis shoots for the lead. Rebound Young, held ball. Nope, foul first. Bojanovsky ticketed with his fourth.
Well, you can talk about what Michael Young does on the offensive end, but for this team to be as good as they can be, he has to be a grown man inside, and that was a grown-up rebound. That was a man rebound, creating space with his body, with his strength, and he went up with two hands through contact to corral that extra possession for the Panthers.
Young is 5 of 8 at the line and missed that one. And this is the 5th best free throw shooter in the ACC, coming in at 85%. He's now missed 3 of his last 5. He missed them both.
Wow.
And a foul called on Jamel Artis.
So many times, foul shots. It's all about mentally stepping up, confidence, routine, and knocking down the shot. And Wes, it doesn't take much to knock that confidence back a bit. You talk about Michael Young, the guy who excels at the foul line, and I think right now, mentally, he's a little fearful of stepping to that line. We see him missing quite a few here in crunch time.
Man. Remember, Beasley's fouled out. Here's Booker. 10 to shoot. Picked up on his dribble, got to do something. Bojanovsky with 4. Booker with the clock winding down. Man, mistimed the jump. Sterling Smith's got it. Pittsburgh now, we go under a minute, tied at 67. The Panthers another chance to take the lead. Who you like here, Jason?
Well, I think you have to go to Jamel Artis. You have to use your 2 best players, allow them to create, and ensure you get a good look at the basket.
Robinson with 8 on the shot clock. Sterling Smith. Ryan Luther can't finish. Got it back, got trapped, feeds Artis for 3. Pittsburgh leads.
Ryan Luther, nice drive to the basket, and again, a man rebound. And that's what it takes to win games. You have to get in, do the dirty work things, fight and scrap. Extra possession, the wherewithal to understand he can finish through the trees and does not have to be a 3-point shot. You try to get something going to the basket, extend this basketball game.
And now Jamie Dixon wants Brian Kersey to look at the monitor.
Well, what Jamie Dixon is saying, the deflection by Ryan Luther, he tipped the basketball. And what Jamie Dixon is saying is the ball did not go out of bounds, hit the out of bounds line on the sideline before Dwayne Bacon actually caught the ball. So what he's saying is Dwayne Bacon caught the ball out of bounds, so the possession should go to the Pitt Panthers. We're too far away, obviously. We can't see that sideline.
Yep.
Compelling argument.
Got to get it in bounds. 5-second call against Florida State. Dwayne Bacon could not pull the trigger.
Well, that's tough. You're 2 feet from your bench. You have to get the ball in bounds, and you have a timeout to spare.
Right.
So that's a double whammy for the Seminoles, and now they must move their feet and foul. And hope that the Pitt Panthers miss free throws, giving them an opportunity. And Bojanovsky picks up a foul, sending Michael Young back to the line.
And Boris Bojanowski is going to foul out of the ball game with 22.8 left. And under normal circumstances, you would say wrong guy to foul.
Right.
Maybe not so today, though, huh?
Well, not so today, but Michael Young is a big-time player. He's a guy who has shown throughout his career he steps up in big moments. And he needs to step up and knock down free throws to possibly extend this lead for the Panthers. And he's 1 for 1 so far.
5 of 10 was Young. Four-point game now with 22.8 left.
Jamie Dixon standing, telling his team, do not foul. You understand that the Seminoles are going to attack the basket, try to get a quick bucket. The last thing you want to do if you're the Pitt Panthers is foul and give up the three-point opportunity.
Rattan Mays is fouled by Sterling Smith. And remember now, a 16th foul against Pittsburgh. No 1-and-1 here. One more before their free throws. So maybe not a bad choice.
Well, that's not a bad choice. You had Rattan Mays with the head of steam, knowing he's going to attack the basket, but you definitely do not want to foul now. You want to move your feet. You want to play position defense and ensure that 5 guys box out and finish the possession with a rebound. And
a technical foul has just been called on Pittsburgh. Or one shot here for Booker. And Booker missed the free throw. So Florida State will still have the ball. Pittsburgh in the middle of a 14-4 run to take the lead by 5. Benji Fell puts it into Rattan Mays. Florida State cannot wait. 3 is good by Rattan Mays, and there's the last Leonard Hamilton timeout with 11.5 left. It's a 2-point game.
Well, this game is far from over when you have electric scores on your squad, and Rattan Mays is a guy that can create space and not afraid to shoot it from distance. The little pick forces a switch, has Luther on his heels, and it's a 2-point ball game partner with just over 11 seconds to go. And the Pitt Panthers right now, the most important thing, get this Spectre foul to come shortly after.
Florida State will defend the inbounds pass. Jarquez Smith, and now you see Luther and Young at the midcourt line. Robinson and Smith in the backcourt. They tried to get the foul there, did not get it. And there's the foul on Sterling Smith with Jarquez Smith. Stops the clock with 6.4 left. Sterling Smith, by the way, is 90%, and he's 2 for 2 today. And it's 1-and-1, or 2 shots. First one's good. This is the big one, though, Jason.
Absolutely. This will make it a 2-possession game and force the Seminoles to make a tough decision with only 6 seconds to go. You would think they need to get a 3-point shot instead of getting an uncontested layup possibly at the basket.
Well, here we go again in the ACC. 11 games in conference play.
The basketball player.
16 points for Artis. 5 rebounds in the contest. And you see the 2 threes. One to start the ball game and one to give Pittsburgh the lead. And Sterling Smith now to try and make this a 4-point game out of Jamie Dixon's last time out. He
Big
does.
shot.
6 seconds left. Florida State needs it twice. Booker, long 3. Rattan Mays the rebound, and he'll lay it up at the horn, but Pittsburgh gets the job done. 74-70 is the final. Pittsburgh comes to Tallahassee and picks up their 5th win in the ACC, headed to Clemson on Wednesday night. And Jamel Artis gives them a huge lift late.
Well, a huge team